Please watch the video until the end. The final scenes are crucial to the truth I had to tell.
Chapter 1. The Key of Summer.
They called harbors reach a paradise because that's what you sell to strangers. Calm beaches, salt-tan porches, and the easy certainty that the ocean will give you what you need. I moved there the year after my divorce, thinking a small harbor would stitch me back together. I was 35 then, with hands that remembered engines and a face browned by wind. My name is Eli Mercer. I ran the harbor launch, ferried people to sandbars, hauled dead batteries out of dories. I worked with my eyes more than my words and learned the moods of our bay like you learn the cracks in your own floorboards. The first summer was ordinary. Sunburn, beer-sweet teenagers, a mayor who never met a ribbon he didn't like. The town lived on two things: the summer and the stories we told the summer. If you stoked one, you did not spoil the other. So when the first body washed up, high on the tidal line near the old jetty, the town decided the story would be tragedy. They wrapped it then in polite speeches and a funeral with blue flags. They called it a freak accident.
Chapter 2. The Denial.
You learn quickly in a small place which silence is safe and which silence is cowardice. The mayor, a man more interested in summer bookings than mortal peril, ordered the beaches open. "One bad day won't ruin our season," he said at a council meeting packed with out-of-towners who clapped like seals. The harbor patrol, me mostly, left a single handwritten sign on the sand that said caution. People ignored it.
Motors let children run into the surf.
The boat rental across the pier sold swims every hour. Money was a louder voice than fear. Dr. Mara Voss arrived that week, all knees and earnestness, a marine biologist from the mainland who insisted we test water and tag fish. She'd seen patterns in other places, she said. She asked questions that made me stay up nights. The bite marks on the first body were consistent, she said quietly, tracing a long line in the sand. Her eyes always found the sea, and in them I could see a worry that didn't match anything Harbor's Reach wanted to believe. Chapter 3. The Night Swimmer. Then the night swimmer happened. A boy who worked the fry shack, barely 17, went for a midnight dip with two friends. The surf swallowed the laughter. One friend came back alone, pale and coughing up salt, his shirt stuck to his shoulders and his shoes full of sand. He clutched nothing but a smear on his sleeve and a certain absence where the moonlight should have reflected a pair of toes. They found him later, the boy's cap blown across the dunes and his watch still ticking under the sand. No one wanted to accept what Mara's test suggested. There was a large predator in the bay, and it had habits. It hunted edges, waited in channels, and struck with a speed that the naked eye simply did not see until it was too late. The mayor called for calm and for a ceremonial beach lighting. He said nothing of closing the harbor. That night I stood at the end of the jetty and listened. The sea made a throat noise, deep rubbing stone, and I felt something below the surface consider me like the small, impatient animal I had become. Chapter 4. The Hunter and the Scientist. When denial broke, it cracked into factions. There were those who wanted the beaches closed, the fishermen who begged for nets and lights. There were those who wanted a permanent tourist board and a new statue on the promenade. I found an uneasy ally in Mara. She wanted to study the animal, to understand patterns and to warn people honestly. And then there was Cooper Wells, a coastline captain called in from a neighboring island, a man with a laugh that shook and a fishing boat the size of a small house. He carried an old-world certainty. If something eats our people, we take it out. We could have tried councils and court orders. Instead, the mayor threw us a rope. "Prove it's here, catch it," he said. And when Cooper placed his boat's rigging before the TV cameras, the town cheered. Money and cameras can make courage smell like duty. I went out with them because the harbor was my beat and because the thought of children in the water made my stomach a jar of frightened marbles. What the cameras didn't show was the way the sea changed when you went out at night. The light from the deck fell on scales that didn't reflect like fish, but dark and slow and patient. The boat's sonar found something vast. Then the signal died in a single, massive pulse. And then the deck lamp snapped out. The scream was nothing like you imagine. It was a low, hydraulic tearing, and then a weight at the boat's flank the size of a ruined car.
Chapter 5. Men on the Sea.
There are choices the sea gives you. You can run, you can fight, or you can learn the whisper of the waves and wait for what else the ocean will teach.
We chose to fight.
At dawn, Cooper and I and two fishermen set out with rope and iron, with a plan stitched of desperation. Mara insisted we use a camera line to observe, to bait and to study. Her eyes were raw with purpose. I saw that in her there was no hunger for trophies, only a need to name what we were dealing with. We found it by following the ragged wakes of smaller fish, scattered like human coins. The creature was older than our town's history, a shadow suffused in teeth. When it came up, water should have boiled from the heat of it, but the world did something worse. It went quiet, then tilted, and then the sea tried to take shape like a living trap. Cooper's first harpoon shivered through rope as if striking a thundercloud. The shaft came back with nothing but a smear of old kelp and a sense that we'd touched an old wound.
The fight lasted hours. The boat bent under the fort.
Men shouted profanities that had never meant so much. We lost a handline to the thing's bulk. A lad I had taught to check an engine was ripped from a stern ladder and gone before I could haul a mussel toward him. I remember the look on Mara's face when she saw the teeth, hacked like knives, notched by time, and something inside her broke into sudden, pleading humanity. "We can't kill it," she said. "We can't save what it's going to do to the others." She meant both the creature and us.
Chapter 6. The Tall End the Silence.
The last run became ritual. We baited deeper, dragging a corpse-laden line that smelled like copper and fear. Sound in the sea is a lie. You hear what you want until it becomes impossible to ignore the truth. We lured the thing beyond the banks where the channel dropped off into black like carved glass. The town waited with its breath in its lungs. When it rose, it took Cooper's stern in a way that left him dangling like a child's toy. The boat went down not in a wave but in a rearrangement of water that threw men into the air as if they were feathers. I watched from the raft as Mara fired a small charge at the base of the creature, a thing she said was designed to wound and disorient. It blew open a place where light wasn't meant to go, and for a moment we saw bone-white and rows of intent teeth, and the creature looked at us like an accusation. In the end, the sea kept its secret. We did not get the victory the cameras wanted to wet their lenses with. Cooper did not come home. Some nights the harbor is full of voices carved into the hulls. Others, it is as if the sea itself holds its breath. The town rebuilt. The mayor still trimmed palms. Tourists returned like migratory birds who remember only the warmth of the season, not the teeth that lurked in the currents. Me. I learned the rhythms. I learned to watch the small things. The gulls that stop feeding over a channel, the way the water runs cold along a sandbar. I keep a lantern now at the end of the jetty. People nod and wave. They forget. And maybe that's the true terror. How quickly we let go of the sharp edges of knowledge so we can cushion ourselves with ease. The sea has a long memory and a slower appetite. If this story chilled you, please subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, give the video a like, leave a comment with your thoughts, and share the video with someone who loves the darkening sea. Your support keeps these stories alive.